Welcome to the Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll podcast. Saving rock, one conversation at a time. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and X. I'm your host, Randy Legault, and back for another Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll six-pack. It's the Calgary Crue. I got Brian McCullaugh, Jamie Landry, Dany Bee, and last but not least, former Calgarian, now based in Florida, honorary member, Mr. Jon Garner. Welcome back, boys. Cheers.
Randall.
Cheers. All right. Cheers. You got a drink. Okay, man, here's what we're doing on this one. Last time we did a six-pack on Time Machine concerts, bands that we love to go back in time to see. So I thought, hey, man, this time we'd go with our favorite concerts we've actually fucking seen. How cool would that be? Which bands or artists have we seen live that absolutely blew our fucking minds? Who's moved us the most? So each of us will start and briefly explain how you arrived at your list, if you had any personal criteria. Then we'll give our bottom three, 6, 5, 4, then our top three, 3, 2, 1. Then we'll go around again and give our 3 honorable mentions. Cool?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
So let's lead off with Mr. Garner. What do you got for number 6, buddy?
All right, so my criteria will become glaringly obvious as I go along that I followed, as always, your lead, Randy, and there's no rules to what I've done.
Exactly. Fuck the rules.
My only criteria was that I did go to these shows. So coming in at number 6, December the 31st, so New Year's Eve, 1990. You guys would remember this place, the Silver Dollar Action Center in Calgary. And you know who was playing on New Year's Eve on 1990? John Lee Hooker. It was a weird deal. I took some notes on this. Doors opened at 6:30. Dinner, because they served dinner New Year's Eve. I thought very civil. 7:15. And the ticket price was a princely sum of $79.25 Canadian. And I bring that up just because as we go through some of the others, I just find some of the ticket pricing on some, especially the older shows, moderately ridiculous. But anyway, there you go. It was, as I recall, a lot quieter than I thought it would be. I thought there'd be more people there. Shockingly, it wasn't a huge draw. But I'm telling you, I was about 15 feet away from him. And he just sat on a chair and fucking played for like fucking 2 hours. It was nuts. It was just crazy. So that was a real cool notch to get, John Lee Hooker.
So he's just got his 335 and stomping his foot on the stage? Is that what we're talking about?
That was literally it.
Fuck, it doesn't get more blues than that, man.
It was very real.
Wow. I don't have that notch. I would have loved to seen him. He's awesome.
Another thread is that there's more than a few of these that you were actually at. So I don't know if any of these are on your list. But coming in at number 5, September the 21st, 2012. So a little bit more modern. The Mac Hall in Calgary. Where were we, Randy? Who were we going to see? We were at Mac Hall, September the 21st, 2012. We saw Anthrax and Testament.
Yes, we did.
And the reason it's on the list, I mean, fuck it, it's Anthrax. First time I'd seen them since 86 and 87. 86, I saw them on there when they were touring with Maiden. I saw them at Wembley, which was fucking awesome. And then they played Donington Park in 87 with, check this fucking lineup. It started off with Cinderella, Wasp, Metallica, Anthrax, Dio, and the headline, are you ready for fucking this? Bon fucking Jovi.
Oh, no, it was a great list up until that point.
What a day. I don't think you've seen 67,000 people make to the exit quite like that day. But
really? Especially that crowd. Oh, yeah, they would be having none of it.
That was a pretty fucking hardcore list. The fun thing behind this whole show is it was Randy and my first introduction to getting to meet Joey, which has turned into a great friendship. But the funniest piece of this whole thing, so they do their meet and greet like they do as the band, and then we get told to go around to the tour bus and say, there's me, Randy, and our buddy Jason. So Joey brings us onto the bus. We were on that bus for about 2 fucking hours.
Yeah.
Just talking music, talking shit. It was so fucking good. And then all of a sudden, Rob Caggiano came from the bus and is like, hey, Joe, we gotta go. Joey sort of looks at his phone and goes, we got an hour yet. Said, dude, no, we gotta go. They'd come from Vancouver. Joey hadn't changed his clock. So he still thought he had another hour to go. So now I know him a lot better. That's Joey. He just sit and chat and chat and chat and chat. He's the coolest fucking guy, but what a great show. And then standing in the wings and Chuck Billy comes up, you suddenly realize what a fucking giant human that guy is. Fucking massive. So yeah, number 5 was Anthrax in 2012.
Could I just add a couple little tidbits on that?
Of course.
Yeah, he could not have been nicer. You guys want to come on the bus and have a beer? Fuck yeah, we do. Of course, me being me, I'm like, God, I wouldn't mind meeting the rest of the boys, right? So I asked him, and he's, oh, we got lots of time. And to John's point, we didn't have lots of time. But we did end up getting a picture with the rest of the band. And then he drops this little nugget. You guys want to walk out on stage with us and then hang out on the side stage? I'm like, yeah, I do want to do that. I mean, it's not the best place to stand for sound, but who gives a fuck? I don't want to be in the riffraff. I know everybody knows that by now. And it was amazing because Scott Ian would come off, switch guitars like a foot in front of me. It was fucking fantastic. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. And we did it twice. We ended up doing that twice at 2 gigs. Yeah.
You guys saw the whole show from the side of the stage?
Whole fucking show.
Yep. And Joey would come over and kind of play to us, do some shit, and then he'd go back out. It was fucking crazy. That's a great pick, man.
That was a good one.
Okay, what's your 4?
Number 4, I got a twofer in this because I really couldn't pick between them.
He's cheating already.
Yo, fucking you wait, dude. you just wait. I got a 16-parter coming up later.
I don't know if I'll have enough beer here.
Fucking, this ain't amateur hour, Danny boy.
I should just set up by the fridge.
That's right. So number 4, it was over a 4-year span, but 2 shows. April the 17th, 2005 at the Whiskey, and September the 28th, 2009 at Flame Central. Can only be one band. We are Motorhead, and we play rock and roll.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
And the 05 gig played with Corrosion of Conformity. And I've been to some loud concerts. I am telling you guys, my ears were ringing for 3 fucking days. And I'm like, I can't hear fucking nothing. That thing was wild.
Fuck, it was blowing my hair back and I'm bald, dude. It was like fucking insane.
Yeah.
Didn't Motorhead hold like the Guinness Book of World Records for being the loudest show at some point? I don't know if they still do or not, but pretty sure they were in the book for a while.
I think they took it over from Slade of all bands. Slade in the 70s were just in fucking insane. And in 2009 at Flame Central, I mean, what a fucking show. Nashville Pussy. You got the koozie there, Randall.
Oh, yeah.
And the Reverend Horton Heat. That thing was just fucking off the charts. That was such a great night. And
a really diverse selection of bands. It was so fucking cool, right? Yeah, that was a great night.
It really was. And I didn't realize it at the time, but, you know, Jim Heath and Lemmy were big pals and a lot of camaraderie there. But, I mean, I don't know that anybody that didn't either A, worship him or think he was the coolest fucking cat in the room. So Motorhead 05 and 09. Those are my first 3.
And Lemmy's a big rockabilly guy, as we all know, because he's got that Head Cat project with
that was so
the
cool.
guy from the Stray Cats. And yeah. Okay, Bri, what do you got for 654?
All right, getting right into it. Number 6, I'm a huge Police fan, and I saw the reunion tour June 6, 2007 in Edmonton. I never thought they'd get back together. I remember them holding the press conference at the Whiskey A Go-Go in LA, and I think they did a bit of a few songs at that night as well. And then the tour went for all through 2007 and 2008 worldwide. It was awesome. It was a great show. I went with a whole bunch of friends. Kenny, my brother Kenny, and I went, and there were some drunk friends at that show. Some of them can't remember it. It was a party. Kenny and I loved the Police growing up, and Stuart Copeland, I love that reggae meets punk fusion thing that he does, and Sting's vocals and bass playing. He's a great bass player. My expectations were high, and they fucking delivered, man. It was fucking great. It was At the time, it was like the third or fourth highest grossing tour of all time. Now it's like in the top 30 or 40, but at the time it was in the top 5 for sure. So,
where was that show, Bray?
It was at Commonwealth.
Okay.
It was at Commonwealth, yeah.
When did they pack it in? 84, I think? Like, when people have been waiting that fucking long, you better hit a home run when the expectations are that high, and they did. I agree with you, Brian. They killed it. Yeah.
What a powerhouse trio, right? So
Absolutely.
what a show. It was awesome. Number 5, same venue, June 14th and 15th in Edmonton. It was the Pop Mart tour. I'm not a big fan of that album. They played 2 nights. I went to both. I was off to the side, kind of like where I was for the Police, kind of off to the side, about a third of the way back. Then the second show was on the floor, about a third of the way back, and I liked that a bit more. I kind of felt like I was in the center of the universe for a few hours. You know that kind of experience you have when you're at a great fucking show. Like nothing else in the world is going on. This is what's going on. It was fucking great. Edge was great. Larry Mullen was laying it down. Like I said, not a big fan of that album, but they did all of their catalog stuff that made them a huge draw, a huge stadium draw.
That was a crazy show. Isn't that the one where Bono was wearing that puffed up fake muscle suit and shit?
They had weird outfits. I wasn't a fan of the outfits, but it was a huge show. I think that was the one with the big lemon.
The lemon, that's right. I wanted to say martini glass. Yeah, it was a fucking lemon. That's right. Yeah.
And they had kind of a big disco ball. It was kind of that kind of disco thing. The music was what it was about. It was awesome. Number 4, June 1994 in Edmonton. With you, Randy, Pink Floyd Division Bell.
Oh,
Nice.
You and I did a podcast about the Division Bell a few months ago. What a great album. I think they did 4 or 5 songs off the album. The rest was all classics. Gilmour was on fire. The sound was amazing.
they did all of Dark Side of the Moon, I think, for that.
Yep.
Didn't they?
You bet. And Randy was a little too loaded. Just a fucking smidge.
Well, you remember that at least.
Yeah, I remember it, but
If
I
you
know.
can remember, you were loaded.
I remember I was loaded.
I remember that too.
Well, it started in the bus ride on the way there. What the fuck do you want?
We were hitting the sauce on the way up hard, yeah. And I just paced myself though. I didn't want to fuck it up, so I started pacing myself. It's hard to believe like the sound in the venue like that. Like it's just big open space, but it just sounded amazing. That was the last tour, I guess, with Richard Wright, Nick Mason, and Gilmour. That's my number 4, Pink Floyd Division Bell.
Okay, Jamie, give us your bottom 3. What's your number 6?
Well, first of all, I'm just going to say you guys put all this thought into how you came up with this and fucking dates and all this shit. I did none of that. I just threw the list together in like fucking 3 minutes. And that's how I live my life. I suffer the consequences later on.
True to form. So everything's normal. It's perfect.
So, number 6 is, it was in 1986, I believe. I just moved to Calgary. And my very first concert was Motley Crue and Autograph at the Saddledome. Theater Paint Tour, yeah.
So that's 85, I think, eh? Yeah. I was there, buddy. That was fucking killer.
I think I was 13, barely. But I do remember turning to my friend and saying, holy fuck, he sounds nothing like the tape.
Vince, yeah.
I do remember being blown away by Autograph, though, because I had no idea who they were. And the next day, I went to the record store and bought both of their albums that day, because they were touring That's the Stuff for that tour.
Autograph, I can only name one song, I'm not going to lie.
Which one?
Oh, yeah, which one? Turning up something. Turn up the stereo? Is that it?
Turn up the stereo. Turn up the iPod.
That's right. Okay, Jamie, what do you got for number 5?
Number 5, I picked Van Halen. It was the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge tour with Alice in Chains opening. I think it was 91, if I remember right.
Yep.
It was the first time I ever saw Eddie Van Halen live, and I was ecstatic, to say the least.
They were in pretty good shape back then still, too, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ed was fucking great that night.
I was at that show too, man. The only thing that haunts me about that one is I didn't have a lot of money at that point, and there were 2 shows that week. One was Queensryche doing Operation Mindcrime in its entirety, and the Van Halen show. And I had to go to Van Halen because I just love Eddie, but if I could go back, I would have switched it.
That's because you don't like Sammy Hagar.
I don't, but I love Eddie.
So.
But that Operation Mindcrime tour, I have it on DVD, and it's fucking phenomenal. I wish
I think you want to go wash your mouth out with soap right now, because you know what? We literally got to see fucking Lane Staley. How many people can say that?
You know what? That's a valid point.
I was a huge Alice in Chains fan already by that point. So
Yeah.
to see those guys too, I was like, fuck, this is awesome.
God, now I feel better, Jamie. Thanks. Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good opener, man.
I mean, it makes no sense, but I like that it makes no sense. It's like when Anthrax opened for Kiss on the Crazy Nights tour. What? But I like that. I like the variety, man. Fuck it.
I like variety too. When the opening band has different genre, even completely sometimes. That's how you learn new music, right?
Exactly. Open your mind. Exactly, man.
All right, number 4 was Seven Dust, and I don't know the year offhand, but a good friend of mine, Greg Thompson, who owns a firehouse in Langdon, fucking called me and was like, "Hey, do you want to come to Vancouver and see Seven Dust with me?" My friend bailed. He's like, I bought the meet and greet package. He's like, "You just have to buy a plane ticket." So I was like, "All right, let's go." So it wasn't their tour though. It was Seven Dust, Clutch, and Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown.
Those bands are awesome.
Wow.
And talk about variety again.
We'll get into this because one of them I fucking hate. But so Tyler Bryant comes on and I was like, holy shit, these guys are awesome. It was very cool to see them. Seven Dust came on and killed. But earlier in the afternoon, we went to the meet and greet. And, they rushed you in. They played acoustically like 3 songs, took your picture with them. Everyone go buy a shirt and get the fuck out. We got shit to do, basically, right? When Seven Dust were on, it was great. And then Clutch came on. And I said to him, like, I don't know about you, but I'm really not digging these guys at all. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, let's fucking go. So we left. And as we're walking out, we see these guys carrying the Seven Dust guitar players' guitars around the corner. I'm like, I bet if we walk around, we're going to run into someone. So we go around, and sure enough, there's the singer sitting at the bar. And so we walk in, and right away he looks at me and recognizes me. And I'd asked him to play Black if they were going to play it at the show when we were at the meet and greet. First thing he says to me when we walk in, he goes, "Hey man, I'm sorry we didn't play Black."
Awesome though, right?
That's cool.
He's like, I got to take off. I'm just waiting for my food. And it's like, yeah, whatever. We're just going to sit down and don't worry. We're not going to bug you, whatever. We sat there with him for like 2.5 hours drinking. He was showing us pictures of his kids, his family. Fuck, he was a great dude. It was awesome.
How cool is that? That's awesome. Sorry, that was the Commodore?
The Commodore. And actually, that's another reason why I picked this too. And that is hands down one of my favorite places I've ever seen a fucking show. And I want to go back there and see another one just because I love that room so much. It was awesome.
I do too. I saw Concrete Blonde there. I saw Jerry Cantrell there. I saw Steve Vai and Monster Magnet.
Nice.
I fucking love Monster Magnet.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's a great venue. Absolutely. Fuck, what was Tyler Bryant, 10 years old back then? Like, he's young now.
Yeah.
Fuck. Awesome, dude. It's always nice when you meet somebody like that and they're cool like that.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Okay, Dany Bee, what do you got for your bottom 3?
For my bottom 3, number 6, August 5th, 1996, where the Ottawa Senators play in Canada, Ontario. The Kiss reunion tour with Peter Criss and Ace. I remember, I think I got the tickets from somebody who couldn't go. And I'm like, Kiss reunion. At first, like, I remember when they were talking about it was going to happen and whatnot. And I'm like, whatever, fucking reunion tour. Reunion tours were kind of in its infancy, I guess you could say. It's like,
right.
Sounded cheesy at the time, whatever. But anyway, I remember I got the tickets and my girlfriend and I drove out to Ottawa from northeastern Ontario. It was like, I don't know, 10-hour drive. She had a cousin that lived out there, so we stayed there. Yeah, man. Fucking Kiss. And you know what? It turned out it was really, really it was a good show. They sounded really good. Peter and Ace played their asses off. It was fucking really good. And I believe they hadn't started tuning down like a whole step yet. So they were probably in their regular E-flat tuning. So it sounded killer, man.
Fuck, you drove 10 hours. You went hard. I appreciate that.
Hey, I gotta say, if you're in northeastern Ontario, you're driving 10 hours to take a shit. Like,
pretty much. Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, I'm not going to lie, man. I had the exact opposite reaction you did when they announced that tour, and I'll get to it later.
Okay.
It wasn't like, It was more like,
After I saw it, I changed my mind about it.
Oh, sure.
Like, man,
yeah.
that was so awesome, and I'm glad I'm really happy I did it. All right, so number 5, Iron Maiden. The last couple times they were here, So I'd never seen him before that. So yeah, the first one was, I guess, in August 31st, 2019. That was the Legacy of the Beast tour. Future Past was a year ago. I went with Kent. Kent was blown away because my son's really big into aviation, and like Buddy's a freaking pilot and used to fly the 747 all over the place for their shows and whatnot. So just because the guy flies planes, my son was like, I like that guy.
He's a pilot and a singer? What?
There's a lot to fucking like.
Yeah. They never let you down. Never.
No, man. I tell you what, the first time, like in 2019 when I saw them, I had tears in my eyes. They were so fucking good, man. The emotions just got me, and I'm like,
that's so cool.
These guys are like my dad's age. Well, Nico's my dad's age, and he's fucking drumming like, it's just unbelievable. And the energy that these guys have on stage, like, it's just such a good show.
Especially Dickinson. Fuck me.
Yeah. Oh, unbelievable. Like, I couldn't believe how good his voice sounded.
Yeah. Are you sure it's Nico? Because you can't see him. Like, it could be.
I know.
Anybody.
Well, you know what? I was doubting it. I was like, is that really him? Or is it
Are you having a laugh?
There?
Are you having a laugh?
Those fucking drums are so high. It's hilarious.
I know. And then last year, the cool thing about that one is that he suffered a stroke at the beginning of the year, and he recovered in time to go back out, finish the tour.
I guess he's still not 100, hey? He's about 80, he says, I think.
No, but
him at 80 is like anybody else's 100, yeah.
It's still awesome. It was still great.
Totally.
So that was number 5. So my number 4, Van Halen, The Balance Tour, 1996. So a few months before Sammy left or got kicked out or whatever the hell happened. So that was at the Molson Amphitheater in Toronto, and Our Lady Peace opened up that show. They were actually really good too.
Isn't that that show was on a pay-per-view on Much Music, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's right, Jamie.
That's true. I watched it a couple times. There was 2 nights, and then they put the footage of the 2 nights together, and yeah, I watched it afterwards a bunch of times, and I'm like, hey, I was there.
I also saw that tour, but I saw it in Edmonton because they didn't play Calgary on that tour.
And was it Our Lady Peace opening up too?
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty good, man. They were still in pretty good shape. Alex actually had a neck brace.
Yeah.
He still played his ass off. Like, he did the solo and everything. And
right.
But he was a little bit more rigid looking, because I forget what kind of injury he had. But
is that the first time you saw Eddie then?
Yeah, that was the first time I saw Eddie. Right. 96.
Is that he had the goatee and shit? Is that the
he had a goatee, short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was right before his hip surgery, so he wasn't moving a lot.
Right.
He was really slow on stage. He wasn't doing the jumps and shit.
And I know the focus is VH, but I can't stand Our Lady Peace. Oh my God. Just sidebar. That guy's voice, I can't do it.
It gets to you after a while.
I just want to fucking choke him.
Were you at the Black Crowes show? Not recently, like when they did that Stampede, whatever the fuck it was called.
Yep.
Black Crowes, it was Our Lady Peace, and
I was somewhere else when they were playing.
Dude, I left. I was like, what fucking tuning are they? They're going to be like 2 fucking steps down, like full steps down. It was brutal. And I mean, I'm not an Our Lady Peace fan, but I do remember, like Danny said, seeing him open for Van Halen, and they actually sounded really fucking good back then.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And what I saw at Oxford Stomp that day was not good.
What used to annoy the shit out of me, we'll just keep going with this, is let's say that Balance Tour, I guarantee in the States it was some band I liked that was opening. And as soon as they hit the fucking border, it's a Canadian band I don't like. I fucking hate that. I know they got to get the Canadian content in there. I get it.
When you're dragging a fucking American band across Canada and paying them.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Canadian band. Hey, guess what? You get to play for these guys.
What? Yeah. I get it. It sucks for me, though. It's all about me, Jamie.
This show is all about Randy.
Oh, man. Are you good, Danny? Is that it? You got
that's number 4. Yeah, that was Toronto in 95.
Okay, man. Well, I'm the exact opposite of Jamie. I over-prepare, as everybody knows, so buckle up.
Imagine that.
Are you sitting comfortably, children? Then
yes.
I'll begin. It's Uncle Randy.
I got beer. I'm good, man.
Do you have a fresh beer? Yeah, exactly. I found this extremely challenging. Like, first off, I've seen hundreds of fucking concerts, and some I can't really even remember. Secondly, I like different shows for different reasons. Like, I like the huge fucking spectacle with the big stage and all that, you know, where it's just as much about the visual as it is the music. But I also like the small, intimate ones that focus more on the music and musicianship. I like them both. So how do you get it down to 6? It's fucking impossible, right? It's a bitch, man, because I like it all.
You do what I did and don't think about it. Just write shit down and go, this is my choice. Fuck
You
it.
know what? I tried to do that, man. I just went with my gut. The ones that first came to mind, like the ones I talk about, like people will ask me this question. What's the best concert you ever seen? And there's a handful that just fucking pop into my head immediately, right or wrong.
Yep.
And those are the ones that are on my list, basically. And most of them harken back to when I was younger. Spoiler alert, but not all of them. This one would not apply to that. So my number 6, Jeff Beck is my favorite guitar player of all time. Just a sea hair above Eddie. I've seen him 3 times.
I'm jealous about that one.
Once I was literally front row center, literally, at Jack Singer Concert Hall in Calgary, October 24th, 2011.
Got a whiff of his fucking baby powder when he puts the baby powder in his hands there at the beginning of the show.
I could see it on his dress pants. And here's
I
how
thought
close
you were going somewhere else with that one. I gotta say.
That was backstage after the show. You know you're close when you can hear him flick the toggle, hey? I could hear that sound of him flicking the toggle switch. That's how close I was. It's like he's playing in your living room, because if you don't look behind you, it's just the band in front of you. But that's not the show I picked. Spoiler alert. I had to go with Emotion and Commotion Tour the year before. I went to see him at the Masonic Auditorium in San Francisco in 2010. So this place is crazy, man. It's like a big Jack Singer, I guess. Like it's made for orchestras. Like it's made for that high-end kind of audio, right? And I took Andrea. We saw a couple bands. We saw Dead Weather, this band Jack White's in.
Yeah.
Saw them at Fillmore.
He plays drums in that band.
That's right. It was fucking great. And I saw Faith No More. Finally got the Faith No More notch at the Warfield. So it was 3 shows in one weekend. Wow. It was fucking great. And Andrea's open-minded as hell. So she's like, yeah, I can hang out with you and a bunch of fucking guitar nerds for a couple hours. No problem. Again, venue amazing. 18-song set. I mean, he's all over his catalog. Lead Boots, Off Wired, People Get Ready, Big Block of Guitar Shop, Brush with the Blues. I don't know if you know that one. Thriller,
yeah.
Beatles, Day in the Life. I mean, it's doing all that, right? Just blown away again by how he plays and his band is smoking. But here's the fucking push over the cliff, boys. The last song was a song called Nessun Dorma. Are you familiar with that? It's a big operatic piece. Like Pavarotti sings it. And it's so powerful, dude. Again, it's just huge and operatic. And the band is just fucking doing this. And I look over at Andrea just to see if she's asleep or digging it or what the fuck. And she's fully crying.
Oh, yeah?
Like tears just going. I'm like, well, that fucking sums up the power of music to me right there in that fucking moment. It was so moving, dude, because I was welling up, but she was full on. I'll never forget that fucking moment, and I will never forget that show. It was unreal. The power of music and what it can do to you, man, it gets in you, and you're not going to cry in public normally.
Yeah.
You can't help it, man. It was that fucking good. So, yeah, Jeff Beck was my number 6.
I've cried many times at concerts. I'm guilty.
Hey, I do it too,
and
dude.
I couldn't control it. I couldn't even control it.
Exactly.
Like, I'm like, okay, I'm crying in public right now. Fuck you guys. I don't care.
Yeah, carry a tissue with you. Yeah. Okay, my number 5 is nothing like that at all. It's 1982, boys. I'm 16.
Wow.
Full-blown fucking metalhead. I'm going to every show I could possibly go to, and I loved Judas Priest.
Oh, fuck.
This is the first of many times I'd see the band, but it remains the best show I saw them. World Vengeance Tour, Max Bell Arena in Calgary, November 7th, 1982. I mean, the place only holds 2,500 people, but they packed that fucking stage in there. They're touring the Screaming for Vengeance album, of course. Lights go out. You hear the Hellion on fucking 11, just cranked. And they go into Electric Eye, and dude, I mean, it's unreal. Stage is 2 levels. I mean, we've all seen the footage. They're up top where the drum kit is. You can hear Halford, but you can't see him. All the boys are out. You can hear him and you can't see him. This is so cool. He eventually appears. He's got the hat and the shades and the whip and the whole fucking thing. Just badass. Set list was crazy, man. Riding on the Wind, Heading Out to the Highway, Metal Gods, Bloodstone, Breaking the Law, Sinner, Ripper, Diamonds and Rust, Devil's Child, Screaming for Vengeance, Got Anything Coming, Victim of Changes, Living After Midnight, Green Metal Issue, and the closer, of course, Hellbent for Leather. And fucking Rob comes out on that Harley. Dude, it was incredible. Like, Halford's voice was peaking back then. Like, it's just fucking off the charts good. KK, Glenn, twin guitar attack. We all know it. It's legendary. And let's not forget Ian Hill on bass and Dave Holland on drums. These guys are heavy and tight as fucking hell, dude. And yeah, I remember they had lasers, these green lasers going on. And that was cutting edge at the time, right? So I'll never forget this too. So at the very end of the show, they climb back up the stairs. So they're all up top. And Halford's in the middle. And he grabs KK's guitar neck and Tipton's guitar neck and crosses them, right? Like that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was so fucking metal. It was just wicked, dude. And if you want to see that show, it's right here.
Didn't we watch some of that on your big screen when I was over one time?
Oh, I'm sure we did.
That's the Maxwell show?
No. It's Memphis, but it's the same show.
Okay.
Like, it's the same tour and the same deal.
I think we saw some of that, yeah.
We covered a lot of ground that night, Daddy.
Yeah, I know.
So Daddy comes over. What time did you come over?
6, 7 o'clock in the evening.
If you got out before 5 a.m., well done you.
Well, it was after 5.
It was 5:30.
Yeah, sun was coming up.
Seen that fucking movie, man.
12-hour shift, watching videos and talking about music and shit. It was fun.
In fairness, one of the notches I have is I think I was one of the first people in that basement when the screen went up.
That's right.
Okay.
I said to Danny, hey, man, I'll go all night. So just tap out whenever
Yeah,
you want.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
And you got to, man. You got
He
to.
goes, okay, I'm tapping out. We go up. It's fucking daylight.
Fucking birds are tweeting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
If you didn't tap out, you'd still be there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, my number 4, I'm pulling a Jon Garner cheat on this one. A bit of a tie situation. It's the same band. So it's not like it's two different picks. But the first one deserves a mention. This concert had a stage show that was so fucking badass, they couldn't take it on the road. They did 4 shows, 2 in Edmonton and 2 in Vancouver. I saw it twice, once in Edmonton, August 17th, 2012, and once in Vancouver, August 24th, that same year. Metallica, full Arsenal tour. It's the shows they shot for that movie, Through the Never.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I was at the Edmonton one.
It's the last time I saw Metallica was on that tour, and I said to myself, if I don't see them again, I'm good. Because this stage show was unreal. It was like a greatest hits of their stage shows. So you had the Ride the Lightning electric chair functioning. Like, it's going fucking crazy. They built the Lady Justice, and it came down. They had video playing on the coffins for Death Magnetic. They had crosses coming up for Master. It was insane. What I wish, though, is on the fucking Blu-ray, which I have right here, they'd release the concert without all the bullshit in between. Like, give me the show, not all the storyline and all that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm surprised Lars didn't do that, actually.
Just wait to the 25th anniversary or something.
There you go. There you go. As great as that was, the show that blew my fucking mind was the Damaged Justice Tour, Saddle Dome, 89 with the Cult opening.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking Metallica, dude. I was a huge fan by this point. I mean, I'd seen the Master of Puppets tour, too, at Max Bell, which was great. But for me, this is Metallica at the absolute peak of their powers, is the Justice Tour.
Yeah.
They're young, hungry, pissed off, drinking beer on stage. None of that James Hetfield kumbaya fucking bullshit. He's talking down to the crowd. Like, it's fucking great. The power and energy coming off that stage was fucking unreal. Hetfield was amazing. He's just in complete control of that crowd. He could have said anything and they would have done it. Lars drumming like a fucking madman. Kirk shredding his ass off. And Newstead. I fucking love Newstead. His energy on stage is just fun to watch. Hey, I'll say it again. I know Jamie knows this. After our Ride the Lightning show, I love Cliff Burton, but Jason's my favorite Metallica bassist. Overall.
Such an intense performer, man.
I think he's a better overall fit. Visually and the whole nine, right?
He's all his veins popping out in his neck and headbanging hard and fucking... His backup vocals are fucking powerful, like...
Well, they let him sing, too. He sings Whiplash, if I'm not mistaken. Stage show was killer. Justice backdrop, and they had Lady Justice breaking apart during the title track. Fucking setlist is killer. Blackened, Bells, Sanitarium, Harvester, Four Horsemen, Eye of the Beholder, Master, One, Seek, Justice, and then here's the kills me. There's 2 encores. One of them's Creeping Death, Fade to Black, and Whiplash. And the second one's Battery, Last Caress, Am I Evil, and sometimes they do Bread Fan. And what's fucking crazy to me about this, if you watch the Seattle show, it's on here, it's basically the same, is they don't slow down. They fucking speed up towards the end. Like, how you do that night after night after night. Yes, I get it. They're fueled by youth and pussy and beer, I guess, at that point, right? But man, the energy level, it just keeps going and going and going. And it doesn't waver. It just increases until they go off stage. Fucking unreal. And like I said, if you haven't seen this Seattle show, I mean, you don't have to get the Binge and Purge box set. It's on YouTube, obviously, like everything else. Check it out.
But you should get the And Justice for All deluxe box set. I got that one too.
Or do like Jamie and get the box set. Exactly. Yeah.
It comes with that show on vinyl. That was one of the reasons why I bought that one. So
amazing stuff, man. Okay, those are my bottom three. Okay, Jon Garner, who's on the podium, man? Who's in your top three?
All right, so November the 1st, 1989 at the venerable Wembley Arena. Tickets were £12. The lineup was a band called Skid Row, White Line,
ooh,
and a band that you've already mentioned, but this was on the Dr. Feelgood tour, Motley Crue.
Well, I didn't see that coming.
The thing was fucking out of control. Seen them at Donington, but like seeing them with their whole thing. I'm a huge Mick Mars fan, but I just wanted to see what Tommy Lee was going to do. I think this was the tumbling... No? What was it?
it was the Around the Arena.
Around the Arena? Okay, there you go. It was great. I loved every minute of it. And little fun thing, Billy Idol came on to do Jailhouse Rock.
No way!
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was really cool. Yeah.
I have that show on a bootleg CD.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because as soon as you said Billy Idol, I know that's on there.
Yeah, Jamie's a big Motley guy.
I'm not the biggest, but there was a bunch of us that went. We partied pretty hard, and it was a cool fucking show.
Fuck, how did White Lion do following Skid Row? That must have been rough.
Yeah, not well. Not well.
Skid Row kicks fucking ass. Wait!
I know you think they're gay, but I saw White Lion open for Aerosmith on the Permanent Vacation tour. And Vito Bratta was such a great guitar player. I mean, sure, they had the cheesiest fucking songs ever, but his guitar playing is insane.
No doubt. I was at that show too, Jamie, but I was in the parking lot for White Lion.
I know, I told you, I bought a White Lion shirt. I didn't even buy an Aerosmith shirt.
Yeah, being an Eddie Van Halen fan, you can't help but love Vito Bratta's playing because he's such a big Eddie Van Halen nut.
Totally. Okay, John, as you were, what do you got next?
All right, number 2. I hope you're all sitting comfortably for this because this is a 12-year span of shows.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Donington, no. Monsters of Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Since the first one to the last one.
I couldn't pick. I mean, I did. If you pulled my fingernails out, I'd go with 1988. That was the first year that Maiden headlined. After much hullabaloo over several years that they were going to play, their thing was always, we're not going to do it till, A, we think we're ready and we can fucking destroy everybody. So they chose 88 on the seventh son of a seventh son tour. And they brought their whole fucking stage show. It was fucking insane, that whole thing. The lineup in 88 was Helloween, a young up-and-coming band, Guns N' Roses, Megadeth, Dave Lee Roth, terrible, awful.
What?
Oh, it was so bad. And just under Maiden there was Kiss.
That was a rough period to be a Kiss fan.
That was the biggest show volume-wise. There was just under 100,000 there that day. And keep in mind, it was just a one-day show. It's turned into this 3 days, 5 stages, shit like that. I haven't experienced that, but I got so many fucking stories. It's literally a 15-minute drive from my family home, just down the M1. And my dad, with some friends, he would drive us into Castle Donington, the little village, which was at the bottom of the hill. The racetrack was at the top of the hill. So he dropped us off in the town. And we filed up thousands of people year after year after year. It just got bigger and bigger. One of the coolest things about it was after the show, when everybody's making their migration back down, the coolest thing was that you have these elderly people just coming out, serving tea and biscuits and shit. There'd be fucking gangs of bikers just sat in their yard, and they'd be like, all right, love, you want another cuppa? And he'd be like, cheers, Mavis.
So they embraced it.
Absolutely embraced it. It was nuts. A couple of little things is in 83, when Twisted Sister were playing, Dee Snider was put on a 16 limit for saying the word fuck. And when he went over it significantly, he was asked why that happened. He said he didn't realize they considered motherfucker part of saying fuck.
That's a compound word, yeah.
Right, it's a compound word. In 84, Van Halen played AC/DC. That was their second headlining show. They were the first band to headline it twice. Dave Lee Ross' last VH appearance in the UK with Van Halen was at Donington 84.
Footage of that just surfaced on 8mm. It's fucking
right?
Really cool. Yeah.
That, I think, is still one of my favorite shows, even with AC/DC on their Fly on the Wall tour. Fortunately, they didn't play that whole album, but they fucking killed it. Ozzy Osbourne stepped in last minute. Y&T played. Gary Moore was fucking killer. It was just off the hook. 86, Def Leppard played, and it was Rick Allen's first major show back after coming back from his car crash.
Right.
And I can remember looking at the stage left, a couple of rows back. When they kicked in, I think they led off with Stage Fright. I mean, that place is fucking loud. I'm not sure I've ever heard it fucking louder just for him. Because they're local guys, right? They're just 2 stops up the M1. His car wreck was like half an hour down the road.
Not a dry eye in the house, I would imagine, on that.
It was fucking mental, but clearly I wasn't going to leave Donington off here. Saxon, first band to play 2 times.
Oh, fucking love Saxon.
Oh, in 82, 83, Hawkwind played. Terrible. And I don't think I've seen a band get bottled more than those fuckers did. They got absolutely fucking slammed.
Now, when you say bottled, you're talking about bottles of piss, because nobody can go walk to the bathroom. Is that right? Is that what we're talking about?
They learned this after the first year in 1980. Don't allow these idiots to actually bring shit in. But basically, if you think of like your 4-liter milk jugs that you have now, you could bring those. So you just basically filled those with beer and you walked in. And then, yeah, I mean, you get down in a crowd of 60, 80,000 people. It's unruly, frankly, to piss on your neighbor. So you get a bottle and then fucking fling it. That's, it's lesson number 1 at Donington. Don't drink the warm yellow liquid.
It's not warm beer.
I walked out of that place more often like I'd come out of World War III all on my own. It was nuts. Crazy memories. Number 1, here we go. June the 5th, 2008, at the venerable Pengrowth Saddledome, the Somewhere Back in Time tour. And this was my first Maiden show in a long time, and it was the first opportunity that Randy and I had gotten to go backstage. The whole story behind that, I was at a function and I was standing behind this rider who was representing the German team, a female rider. I was like, I know who you are. So I tapped her on the shoulder and said, hey, Helena, my name's John. Big fan of your brother. This is Bruce Dickinson's sister. And she goes, holy shit. I don't get that when I'm at horse shows. So we got our plate of food where it was a buffet, and we went and just sat and talked about music and what Bruce was doing, because he was out of the band at that point. So I got some little nuggets on that whole breakup. And anyway, we sort of kept in touch. And then when he got back in the band, she's like, yeah, let me know anytime they're coming through. I'll hook you up. So shot her a text message. And lo and behold, we get these passes. It's the reason I don't have a T-shirt from that show, because we went into the hospitality and we just didn't want to leave. Steve came in and we're just like, oh my fucking God, it's Steve fucking Harris. And then Adrian Smith comes in and get our pictures taken. And it was just so cool. Fast forward. So we go in, we're on the floor. We've got our security clearance and shit. And so you've got the sort of the main seating area or the standing area or what have you. Anybody who watches this show by now knows that Randy does not like crowds.
Dude, if I could interject, it was perfect. There was 10 feet between the boards and this railing. And then that was the fucking pit, right? So we're in that section. It's to drag drunk people out, right? We're right at the front and nobody's in this section. Just the 4 of us standing there. This is too good to be true.
We're just hanging out, right? And then halfway through the show, all of a sudden these people start filing down, right? It's just one after another, after another, after another.
Well, if I could interrupt you just for a sec, John, I knew exactly what was going on. I look over my shoulder and I see this, I don't know, pick a number, 10 people coming our way with like a Iron Maiden chaperone or whatever, and they got the passes. I'm like, oh, I know who these people are. They're the going on stage for Heaven Can Wait people. So I said to John, I go, let's just blend in with these motherfuckers. We'll go right up. He's like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, go ahead. Continue.
So anyway, yes, they go into Heaven Can Wait. They file us all on. We get on. I'm 5 feet from fucking Dave Murray. And, you know, the whole, whoa, 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 fucking Dave. And he's like, yeah. It was so fucking cool. The show was also great. You said it earlier. Maiden never disappoints. They sure as hell didn't. But that was an all-time memory. That's my number one.
Okay, Mr. McCullaugh, who's on your podium, buddy?
I will try to be a little bit more concise.
Fuck you, Brian.
Hey, Brian, you're an editor. That's what that's for. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to make your job a little easier, Randy, than the
Thanks.
elaborate style of discourse that your buddy John has there. Great story, though. You told me that story before about going on stage for that show. That's so cool. Yeah, and it's experiences like that that make those memorable, right? The show was great, I'm sure, but it was all the stuff that happens around it. That certainly helps, right? All right, getting to mine. My number 3, 2007, Saddle Dome, June 23rd to be exact. Can you guess what show that was, Randy? You were there, but you weren't with me.
Roger Waters?
Oh, yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety.
Oh, that first time. Yes, now I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And so again, expectations were high. And what can I say, man? It blew me away. The visuals before the show even starts, like when he's dialing the radio and that high def screen wrapped right around the front of the stage, he would turn the channel to different songs, and that was the basically the opening act, a DJ almost, right?
Yeah. Well, if I could interject, Bri, so it's a huge fucking HD screen, and it's got an old style radio on it, and that's all it was. So you're sitting there in your chair, and you're like, oh, that's fucking lame. And then you'd see smoke go by. Oh, it's live video. Then a few more minutes go by, you see a hand come in and flicking through the dials, static and shit.
Right.
And to Brian's point, he's changing the songs. But at first, you're like, what is that? It's fucking lame. And then it got cooler and cooler as it went.
Because it was one steady shot. There was no editing, right? It was really cool the way they crafted that and shot that. And it wasn't a lot going on, and it was very minimal what was going on the screen. But the whiskey, the glass of scotch, whatever was there, and the ashtray with the smoke burning, and it was in high def, and at the time it was like, I think that might have been the first time I'd seen something that high def. I'm a sucker for visuals. That's what makes a show for me. Obviously the content is important.
That's the show, in the middle of the shows, they had like a halftime and they were playing poker in the middle on stage.
That's right.
Remember? They were playing cards.
Yeah, during one of the songs from Animals, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they did the album first and then the hits later. I think that's what happened, right?
I think they did Dark Side at the end, Bri. Because they did a couple Final Cut songs, dude, if you remember that. I'm like, yes.
That's right, I do remember that. That's one of the reasons I loved it, too, is because the Final Cut is one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums. You and I do a podcast about that also. What a great show.
You know what I remember about that one, Brian, is they did a really good job with mixing real live special effects, like pyro, with the video playing in the background. Like they had war footage playing on the video, but real pyro going off in the arena. So it was like a blend of real and fake. Well, Roger's just into that shit big time.
Master of that kind of thing. Yeah, master of those kinds of visuals. So that's number 3. Number 2. Man, this was tough. This was 1987, Max Bell Arena. You were at this show too, Randy. We went to see one band, but we saw another band.
Yep.
Open.
Who was very unknown at the time.
Completely unknown to me. Maybe you had heard of them, but I had no idea who they were.
People knew who they were after that show, I could tell you.
So the headliner was The Cult.
Electric Tour.
This band had opened for them, the Guns N' Roses. I didn't know their history before that.
They didn't get really known in Canada until like 88, really.
Well, that album was out for a year before it did anything.
Sweet Child wasn't released yet as a single. The album was out, but the song wasn't released until early '88. So that was part of the reason.
It's So Easy was the first release.
Okay, did not know that. Anyway, I just remember like saying to myself, "What's happening right now? These guys are possessed."
They're fucking wicked, exactly.
They probably made it hard for the Cult. I'm sure the Cult were like, "Oh shit, we got to go after this." Whoa.
Axl's whipping the mic around, and I think he got pissed off at the crowd that night.
Yeah, he did. I remember this. He was introducing Knocking on Heaven's Door. He's like, "Oh, it's about a friend of mine who committed suicide." He's giving this story, and somebody went, "Fuck you," because nobody knows who they are. Somebody gave him the finger. He's like, "I'll stick that finger up your fucking ass," and he jumps in the crowd. He's just like, I'm like, who are these guys? Just fucking wicked.
They were fucking dangerous.
Like the intensity. Oh, danger. Absolutely.
Everybody went there to see the Cult. They didn't go there to see Guns N' Roses. So everybody that went that night has that notch, right? That's not a lot, but...
And let's not forget the Cult. The Cult is awesome. That fucking Electric album kicks ass.
So good.
And they fucking delivered. They were amazing. I love the Cult. One of my favorite bands. That was the first time I'd seen them live. I think I've seen them live only twice since then.
I don't have that notch. I've never seen the Cult.
I've seen him so many times, I'm not going to the Grey Eagle this time to see him. I'm like, you know what? I'm passing.
I love Billy Duffy. I love Ian's vocals and the way he fucking hammers on that tambourine so it goes flying. I just love that energy, though. I love their content. I love their body of work. They're a great band, man.
They were the token opener for a lot of shows. Like, they opened for Metallica, like I said. They opened for Billy Idol and Whiplash Smile. Like, they were like the opening band on a lot of these tours.
So that's my number 2. Number 1, I have to go with last December 2023 in Vegas. It's an indescribable experience. You have to go see a band that you like in the Sphere. Again, I love visuals. I love sound. And you put those two things together, put the content together. That's my jam. I just love it. What can I say about the show that I didn't say in our top 10?
Well, you haven't said who the band is yet, Bri.
The band is U2. If you didn't know who was playing the Sphere in December in Vegas...
It wasn't the Grateful Dead?
It wasn't the Grateful Dead. Fuck the Grateful Dead. The visuals started early on, and they just they were simple, and you're building this vibe, and then there was a DJ driving around on the floor of the Sphere, spinning tunes, and the energy was building. You have to go to be able to understand what I'm talking about. It's just, how can concerts be the same after that? That's why it's my number 1. Like, the resolution on the screen is off the fucking charts. The sound is coming from everywhere. And they sounded great. And they were playing live, because I heard Edge fuck up a couple of times. I know they're tuned down a half a step, because we cover some of their songs, but it was still fucking great.
Let me ask you this, Brian. Did you find, because I've seen footage of it, that stage is so tiny, that little square down there, do you find the visuals overpowering to the point where, is there even a band here? Or like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I was afraid of that, but you connected to the band. They almost had them on the screen the whole time too. But I did watch the stage. I did make a point of just watching the stage for a good chunk of the time. They did dial back the visuals at times so that it was just the music. Really well done.
It'd almost be cool to see it twice. Once on the floor by the stage. It'd be cool to get both those perspectives, eh? I'd love to see go for a tour behind the scenes there, like the tech involved.
Right.
Because I don't know how many speakers are in there. I don't know what the number was. It's crazy, right? The thing was $2 billion or something to make. Like, I'd want to see the guts of this thing and how it functions. It'd be cool.
I think I went a little longer than I planned, Randy, but those are my top 3.
Yeah, thanks for being concise there, Brian.
You did fine. Now we're going to go to Jamie. He's concise. Let's go.
I'm going to talk for a fucking 45 minutes.
I'm going to review every song on each set list.
I wish I could. Number 3 for me is, you already mentioned this show, Randy. Metallica, Master of Puppets Tour, Max Bell Arena, with Metal Church opening.
You were at that one. I forgot.
Yes, I was. And do you remember how much the tickets were for that?
I do not.
It was like $15, if I remember right. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
When you think about that shit?
Totally.
I was right up front. Like, we rushed in as soon as they opened the doors, and I was like right up against the boards for the whole thing.
I was brand new into them, so I was a little like, oh, what am I going to see here? And it was a fucking sonic assault, man. It was like, holy shit.
It was nuts. This one's kind of tied for me because I saw them years later in Dublin, Ireland, at the Download Festival, and they did the whole album from start to finish. Number 2 was Elton John. It was in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace.
Was it $1 Million Piano? Was it that one?
No, it was the Red Piano on my birthday, and I was blown away.
You know what? I totally understand what you're saying because I saw him there too on the tour after that $1 Million Piano. That room is incredible. It's a fucking great room.
There's not a bad seat in any of those rooms.
It sounds amazing. And back to the welling up, he was doing Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters, and I'm like, fucking, what's going on? I'm like welling up. I'm like, this is unbelievable.
I was blown away at how not only how good he was, but his fucking band.
Totally. That was a great pick. Yeah.
All right, my number 1 is 2 shows, but from the same band. So I saw night 1 and night 2, and so did you. Las Vegas, House of Blues, Black Crowes.
Nice.
Wow, that's your number 1. Holy shit. Awesome.
They fucking blew me away that first night. I wasn't even going to the second show yet. It just happened. Somebody saw my post on Facebook saying how great it was, and they're like, hey, I see you're in Vegas. I'm here too. I have tickets for tonight's show, but I can't go. I'm going to Shania Twain instead. Do you want my tickets?
What?
Shania?
What?
Face value. I was like, well, fuck yeah, I do. So I got to see the next show. And I mean, it's funny, the whole first night, I was like, fuck, they didn't play Conspiracy. I was all fucking mad. I'm like, it's one of my favorite Black Crowes songs ever. And then second night, I don't know, I can't remember how many songs in, but they played Conspiracy. My favorite of the 2 was the first night because the first night I was on the general admission, and I liked that way better. It's like being at a bar, basically watching the fucking Black Crowes, and like, this is nuts. And then just near the end, it seemed to really trickle out. I was literally up at the front filming when they played It's Only Rock and Roll.
I mean, that venue, I've seen a bunch of shows there. It's fucking wicked. It's tiered, and it's just fucking amazing, yeah. That was full on COVID time. You had to show your fucking vaccine card. You had to fucking jump through a lot of hoops. The scary part was, so, I mean, you roll the dice, no pun intended, you're in Vegas, but on the way out, when you're leaving there, you needed to go to get a test to get home. I'm like, come on. I can't afford to stay here any longer. So Blair and I hit one of those drive-thrus, and they fucking do it right there. Eh? Like, come on. Good one, man. Okay, Dany Bee. What's your top 3, buddy?
So, actually, a quick explanation of why I picked some of the shows that I picked. Well, to be honest with you, growing up in like a small town Ontario, I didn't really get starting seeing big shows until I was in my 20s. Because we were so far and isolated from like big cities that we can just drive to Toronto all the time for a weekend, especially like in our early teens. So it's very condensed and nowhere seen in as many concerts as you, Randy, or probably any of you guys. So it was a little bit tough to kind of pick the ones I did, but at the same time, they picked themselves because, like I said, I didn't really get to see a whole lot of big shows. But so my number 3, with all that being said,
it's Static at the Wink and Owl. No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, last weekend, that particular show.
I saw that show. It was really good.
The Friday night. All right, number 3. I think it was September 2000. I know it was 2011. I believe it was in the fall sometime, but Prince, Welcome to America.
Oh, yeah.
At the fucking Saddle Dome. It's still burned like vividly in my brain that night. I can't even describe how good it was. Like, I got goosebumps the whole fucking show. And I think I probably cried a few times during the whole show at some point.
A few.
Purple Rain, during that time. But the band was fucking phenomenal. Like one of the best backing bands I've ever seen, like back up like a big name artist like Prince, right? Like, like he's going to have the best of the best on stage with him. So.
Yep, absolutely.
But it was just absolutely fucking just amazing.
It's funny how many shows I was at with you guys that I didn't even know you. Like, I was at that one too, yeah.
Were you there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. His band is no joke every time. Fucking
killer. Oh,
my
gosh. They were so fucking good. Any one of those band members could have probably fucking kicked ass on their own, I'm sure. All right. That's number 3. Number 2, the first time I saw AC/DC, the Ball Breaker Tour, 96. This particular trip, we took the train to Toronto from Smooth Rock Falls, where I'm from. And it's like a 12-hour fucking train ride. It's a long.
Did you say Smooth Cock? Smooth, what did you say?
Smooth Rock.
Oh, Smooth Rock. Sorry.
Rock Falls.
Sorry, Go ahead.
SRF, man. So it's a long train ride, and we met these guys. They hopped on the train. They didn't even have tickets. We hung out with them long enough to score some acid.
Yeah, you did.
And we're like, fuck, this is perfect. We're going to go see AC/DC. We're going to pop this acid. It'll be awesome. No word of a lie, like not even 15 minutes later, they got discovered and they got kicked off the train. Also, quick story on that. We snuck a joint of hash in the bathroom on the train. But we didn't get busted for it. The staff on the train thought that it was those two fuckers smoking.
Oh,
the
yeah.
joint.
Nice.
It was us, though. So they got blamed for it, and they got booted off the train, and we still had the acid, so everything was good. Yeah.
So you're on acid and hash. Oh, my God. I'm getting paranoid just hearing that story.
I know. We did the acid at the concert, at the actual show.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the tour with the big crane and the fucking wrecking ball. Is that right?
Yeah, the wrecking ball. Yeah, ball breaker.
Yeah.
Correct. My buddy Dan and I were way back in the seats. We're like, fuck this. We're going down there. We're going to go meet the rest of them. They had a couple of extra tickets that some people didn't show up for whatever reason. So we knew that there was a couple of free seats down there. So we're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going down there. We're going to join them at the 15th row. And we did. And then the acid started kicking in.
And then the fun began.
Oh my gosh. Make a long story short, in the middle of the show, Angus always gets up on the shoulders of like a couple of big dudes and he goes in the crowd and he does a solo.
Yeah.
And he walked right in front of us.
No way.
Because the 15th row, there was like a 10-foot gap between 14 and 15. That was like the alley for them to come through the crowd and whatnot.
Okay.
So I got up on my chair and I yelled, Angus! And I fucking slapped him on the leg as he went by.
You touched Angus Young.
I touched Angus Young on acid that night. Like, I wasn't fucked up. Like, people would, nope, you really touched him, man. I was there. Yeah.
You have witnesses. Well, fuck, that's cool.
So that's why that's number 2 for me because, yeah, it's pretty special. And I remember the whole thing. Like, we barely drank any alcohol that night until after, so I remember everything.
Yeah, I don't think you needed it.
No, I was super high, man. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Awesome.
All right. Number 1?
Yeah, what's number 1, dude? Oh, my God.
Pink Floyd, the Pulse Tour, man. I saw them in Toronto at the old Canadian National Exhibition Stadium. The Blue Jays used to play there. It's a huge stadium. There was fucking 55,000 people there, man. And I was there with my dad, my brother, my uncle. And my brother was very young. He was 15. I was 21. And we wanted to get high before the show, but we wanted to kind of be discreet around my kid brother. So
sure.
My dad just crumbled a whole bunch of hash and we steeped it in coffee and we did a hash coffee. Oh, dude. When that shit kicked in, it was fucking gorgeous. The sound system was like mind-blowing. Like it went all the way around the stadium.
Yep.
I remember when Money started, the cash register fucking thing. It swirled around us like it was, holy fuck.
Fuck, they were pioneers with that, hey? The surround
Unbelievable.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go. This is my number 1. I told my brother about your podcast, so he's probably going to watch this episode and remember that day.
Why wouldn't he? Yeah, shit. That sounds awesome. My number 3 is a band I've seen many, many times. Always a great show. Iron Maiden. Now, you might think, hey, man, Randy's going to pick 81, Peace of Mind. First time he saw him. No. Or 84, Power Slave Tour. That was pretty good. No. Somewhere back in time, Saddle Dome, June 2008. Jon already mentioned it. What can I add to Jon's story that he didn't mention?
Basically, do you have the best friend in the fucking world?
Yeah, that. Jon's the best friend in the fucking world. Hey, we met Chris Jericho backstage. You didn't mention that. He was there, remember?
We did.
And I've got the Number of the Beast picture disc signed by Adrian and Steve. It's right there. It's just my first backstage experience. I framed everything. Number of the Beast picture disc, photos, drumstick, ticket stub, the whole fucking 9. I thought it was cool. You didn't mention this, Jon. I thought it was neat that nobody was chaperoning us whatsoever. Like, we could just fucking go wherever we wanted. So there was Iron Maiden catering, Iron Maiden masseuse, Iron Maiden warm-up room.
We saw Nico do his warm-up.
Yeah, he's got the door open and he's got this little kit and he's fucking doing shit. Like, nobody's saying you can't go here, you can't go there. It was fucking wicked that way. It was crazy, man. We're on cloud 9. I mean, going on stage was fucking gravy. Let me comment on that. So yeah, like Jon said, we walked behind the stage, but they made you wait there for a little bit. There's a stairway there, but you could see the band performing. And you're looking at it going, I'm going out there? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? Off you go. And like Jon said, we were right at the front. And I'm only 2-3 beer in. Like, I'm basically sober. And I remember saying to myself, fucking soak this in. Because we're up there for, I timed it, about a minute is all it was. And I do remember being up there. And like Jon said, we look over and there's Steve Harris. They're fucking right next to us, rocking out. It was fucking crazy. But I remember looking down at the crowd. And they're fucking going crazy. And just for a split fucking second, on a small scale, I felt like what it was like to be them. Every night. And I get it. It's more powerful than any fucking drug you could ever take. It was crazy because it's just loud. It was unreal. And then, like I said, it's a minute. We're jumping up and down like idiots. And you're back down the stairs, back where we were in the front. And you're looking up. Hey, I was just up there like it never happened. It was like fucking surreal. Yeah, I was just there. Like, what? Yeah, Jon's right. It was fucking unbelievable, man. Here's the only downside, boys, if there is a downside. We searched far and wide for any video of us up there and came up with nothing. Back then, people were recording like they do now. So that would be really cool if we could actually see ourselves, but no, sir. And I'll just add this. If you want to see that show, this is a great fucking DVD. Flight 666. It's that show, and every song is in a different place on the tour, in a different location. And it's fucking phenomenal. So that's my number 3. Okay, my number 2. I've been waiting about 20 years for this fucking moment, boys. A moment I thought that would never happen. The moment I saw Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley, the original members of Kiss, perform live. Danny already had it on his list. The Alive Worldwide Tour. I saw it at GM Place in Vancouver, September 2nd, 96. And what's cool about this is just months before that, I'd seen the Bad Boys of Kiss. Was anybody at that show?
Bad Boys of Kiss?
At the back alley. It was Ace and Peter. They were doing their own fucking bar tour.
I heard about that, but yeah. I wasn't in Calgary back then.
And it was awesome. I thought, this is fucking fantastic. I mean, I'm getting to see Ace and Peter in a bar. It's great. I never thought in a million years I'd get a chance to see the original band, right? Until I watched the MTV Unplugged special. Anybody watch that when it aired?
Yeah.
And the reaction those two guys got, I'm like, oh, it's going to happen. You could see Gene, the dollar signs coming out of his head. Like, fuck, dude, you knew it was going to happen. So they announced it shortly after that.
I guess, so that was the catalyst for the whole reunion with the two guys, right?
Fucking Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick are probably like, fuck, we're out of a job now, boys. I was absolutely fucking vibrating that night, man. 23 song set. They opened with Deuce. The only lame thing I thought, compared to back in the heyday, is they came out, they were already on stage. They had the curtain, but they were already on the stage. Like, there was no coming down from the ceiling. There was no coming down on a riser. They were already there. I thought, man, that's not that dramatic, but fuck, I was so excited. At that moment, I didn't really think about it, but afterwards, I'm like, they could have kicked that up a notch. Yeah, they played all the fucking classics. You know them. Everybody knows them. I ended up seeing them 5 times on that tour.
For that tour?
Yeah. Well, that and the farewell tour. Before it went sideways again in 2001, right? On the farewell tour, it went sideways. But I loved every single fucking second of it, man. And there's tons of pro shot footage on YouTube you can check out. This is a really good DVD. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's like a documentary on the reunion tour called The Second Coming. It's really well done.
No, I didn't see that.
Like, it shows them putting on the outfits for the first time again and putting on the makeup for the first time again and realizing, we got to lose some weight. That kind of shit, right?
Isn't Tommy Thayer in there?
Yeah, and he's showing Ace how to do the licks because Ace can't remember. Like, they show them rehearsing.
I saw some of the clips from the rehearsals.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, those boys had to get whipped into shape, and they did.
For the Ottawa show, when I saw them, they opened up with Detroit Rock City.
Oh, they did, eh? They switched it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would have been in August, so it would have been a little bit before you saw them.
Oh, interesting.
You saw them in September.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't have been more excited. I can remember showing up at the GM Place there, and there were people dressed up as the band and stuff. And there's just a real party atmosphere that you could tell people were just waiting for this thing, man. Like, Kiss would have really had to shit the bed to have this not go off because people were just fucking drooling for this moment.
I was skeptical at first. I'm like, I don't know, man. Did you hear all the stories about how, Peter and Ace were like big drunks on tour before, and
Well,
like,
they cleaned up for a while.
oh yeah,
It eventually unraveled again. But
they were on fire that night when I saw them.
okay, my gold medalist is going to come as no surprise to anybody who knows me, and some of you, Jamie, are sick of hearing about it. But my number one has to be my very first concert, Van Halen, Fair Warning, Stampede Corral, May 28th, 1981. How is it not going to be that? I've told this story many times on the show, so I'll keep it brief. I'm 15. My brother Blair's like 13. Parents drop us off at the corral. In we go. Little did we know our lives would never be the fucking same. This thing was unbelievable. You walk in, there's smell. I mean, I'm just a kid. Smell of weed everywhere. Take our seats on Eddie's side. One section from the stage. Fucking perfect. Lights go out. Announcer yells, "All right, Calgary, I give you the mighty Van Halen." Like, I fucking remember it, man. And Roth comes off the kit, and you hear those fucking first notes of On Fire. Oh, dude. It was fucking on. The power, the musicality, the showmanship of this band live is something I'll never fucking forget. Ever, ever, ever.
If I would have seen that show, that would be my number one too, guaranteed.
It would be mine too.
Any early Van Halen would have been my number one.
Eddie and Dave are so fucking talented and charismatic back then. They were so good at this point. I don't know what else to say. It was incredible. Let me whip through this set list. So like I said, it opens with On Fire, Sinner's Swing, which I fucking love. Then you get Alex's drum solo right off the hop. Hear about it later. So This Is Love. Jamie's Crying. Bass solo. Running with the Devil. Dancing Night Away. Romeo Delight. Everybody Wants Some. Ice Cream Man. Mean Street. Eddie's guitar solo. Feel Your Love. You Really Got Me. And the encore, Unchained and Ain't Talking About Love. Dude.
Nice.
Come on. I mean, I'd see them again in 84 on the 84 tour at the Saddledome, and it was awesome. Bigger show, more spectacle, but it wasn't as lean and mean, right? It was getting a bit bloated by then with Dave doing the sword thing and all that. The Fair Warning tour, it just had such a fucking massive impact, man. From that point forward, I could not get enough of seeing my favorite bands live. Like, I went to as many shows as I could. I still do. And as you guys know, the only pro shot footage from this tour was that Oakland stuff in California. Unchained, hear about it later, and So This Is Love.
Yeah.
So you get a taste of it, but man, you can't beat being there. I mean, that had to be my number one. I mean, everything was different from that point forward for me.
I've never seen a show at the Corral. I've never seen a show at Max Bell.
Fuck, I could rattle off some Corral shows. Fuck, Scorpions, Love at First Sting, Power Slave. You know what I liked about it, though? It was a medium-sized venue. Like, if you couldn't fill the dome, like, you got to be big to fill the dome. The next jump down is like a theater. It was nice that it was kind of in the middle there. 7,000 seats, 6,000 or whatever it is. Okay, let's go with the honorable mentions, boys. John, give me 3 or whatever you got.
I got to bow out.
Jamie's bowing out. You got some honorables you want to rattle off?
Sure. Do you want me to do it really fast?
Yeah, give her.
Okay.
At this point, we lost Jamie's video feed, so we replaced him with White Lions guitarist, the powerful and attractive Vito Bratta.
First one for me, you guys have mentioned, a lot of you have mentioned this band, was Iron Maiden. I saw them with Wasted opening in the Somewhere in Time tour. It's the first and only time I ever saw them live. They were fucking amazing. I was supposed to go to that show in 2012 that you mentioned. I had tickets for it, and then being a musician, I ended up playing, and I couldn't go to the fucking show, so.
I don't remember Wasted, I'm not going to lie.
I do. I remember loving that and buying the album that they were, Save Your Prayers it was called, that they were touring, that one. Loved it.
All right, that's a good one, man. That's when Iron Maiden had those big inflatables, eh? The hands and the fucking head.
And the Walking Eddie, that was pretty cool. It was awesome. Number 2 for me was a show I saw in Vancouver last September. I flew to see the Dead Daisies at this small little theater. It was called the Hollywood Theater. It was like a 500-seat place. And
cool.
It was fucking awesome. I'm a huge John Corabi fan, so it was awesome to see him fronting that band.
Is that Doug Aldridge on guitar then?
Oh, Doug Aldridge is fucking amazing. I love that guy.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, he smokes.
And my number 3 is one that an honorable mention just because it will probably be in my top 6, but it hasn't happened yet. September 13th at the Grey Eagle, I will get to see my favorite guitar player in the fucking world. So, Extreme.
I got tickets for that.
You already know it's going to be in the top. That's awesome.
It's going to be somewhere. I already know it. I don't know if I told you this. They changed the VIP experience back to the soundtrack, so I get to go in and watch soundtrack.
Nice.
That's going to be awesome.
Good for you, man.
I'm pretty excited about that. Instead of just touring his gear, because I totally would have rubbed my balls on his guitar.
I would have went all Step Brothers on his fucking ass. Yeah. Oh, I'm happy for you, man. That's fantastic. Wicked.
Yeah, I'll be there, buddy. We'll see each other there.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
sure.
be there too. Wicked.
Oh, yes, I will be there.
Okay, buddy. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging.
All right, man.
See you, Jay.
Good yapping with all you guys.
You bet. Next time.
See you, Jamie.
Cheers.
Okay, Mr. Garner. What do you got, buddy?
Well, okay, so I only found this out relatively recently, and it's an interesting tag on to one of Brian's stories, because allegedly I saw Guns N' Roses at the Marquee Club in 1987.
That's a legendary show.
Apparently it was wild. I don't remember anything. Like, I really don't.
It's the first time they went to your neck of the woods, if I'm not mistaken.
First time out, they played 3 nights. Apparently I went on the second night. Didn't have the album, or I don't even think the album had come out in the UK at that time. Afterwards, you realize It's So Easy had come out. It wasn't getting any real airplay. And the tag on to Brian's piece is that during that 3-night run, Ian Astbury saw them, and that's when he invited them to come on the road with the Cult.
Good piece of trivia. Nice. It's a shame you don't remember it better, John. That's too bad.
Oh, fucking tell me about it. We went to the Marquee Club so often. Saw Girls' School there. They were killer. But what was really cool is probably from about 86 onwards, often bands who were playing Donington that week before, they would do like a little warm-up gig at the Marquee Club. I do remember seeing Maiden play there under the moniker of Mickey Mouthpiece and the Swinging Devils.
What?
They were the opening act for, it might have been the Choir Boys or Thunder or something like that who we'd gone to see. And this band of fucking idiots come on and you're like, just hang on a second.
You had no idea.
No, nobody did. They didn't play Maiden songs. They just played stuff.
Covers?
Yeah, the Marquee Club, man, was insane.
That's where all the big stars saw Jimi Hendrix for the first time back in the day.
That's right.
Yeah. And then my other two are one notch I was desperate to get, which I got last year, was I saw him just outside, in Tampa, at a little outdoor venue called Janus Live, which is so fucking cool. Ugly Kid Joe. I was desperate to see them, and fuck were they good.
Wow.
Oh my God, it was so good. I don't care that there's only the 2 original members, but they're the ones you need to have anyway. And it was just, fucking balls to the wall. They played Neighbors, so I'm good with that. But it was just a great, great show. They're clearly guys who are still having a lot of fun, and I guess that sort of break has rejuvenated them, because they're fucking touring all over the place now.
They're just a fun band. They're fun.
They're an absolute fucking hoot, and man, can he play guitar.
You know what? I'd never seen them, and they opened for the Scorpions when I saw them in Vegas a few months ago there. And they were great.
And then my last honorable mention, I have to mention it because it was only a couple of nights ago, but Joey Belladonna.
You ass kisser.
And the Maid of Metal Boys doing their Ronnie James Dio tribute. Holy fuck.
They do Dio, Rainbow, and Sabbath. Dio Sabbath, obviously. Yeah.
And it was very, very heavy Sabbath. I busted Joey's nuts on that at the end of the show. I said, yeah, a little light on the Rainbow there, buddy. Need to kick that up a notch. I said, okay, fine.
They play Man on the Silver Mountain?
Oh, of course. Led off with Tarot Woman. Lost my mind straight away. And then ripped into Neon Nights, which, of course, they did with Anthrax on the tribute album. But I got to give a shout out to the 3 guys from Made of Metal who were the musicians, Jim McCourt on drums, Rob Stokes bass, and Mike Rivera on guitar. They have their own band out of Pompano Beach, was mainly where they play. But Jim, the drummer, he's also Nico's drum tech when he's playing stuff in and around. Just the coolest fucking guys. So anyway, we spent a couple of hours at the end of the show hanging with the guys and just talking music, talking shit. I've got them tagged onto the cast, so hopefully Jim and the boys are paying attention and seeing what we do. And the range of people that were there was really cool. There was still some quite young people. This is not new music, but it still resonates, man. And Joey did 4 nights back to back to back to back.
His voice is freakishly good still.
Yeah.
And his voice really suits Ronnie's. Like, you can tell it's Joey, but it's still enough like Ronnie's. It's a nice blend.
They were so fucking tight. For sure, more heavy on the Sabbath stuff. I think he missed 2 songs off of Heaven and Hell, which is fine with me.
Wishing Well and Lonely is the Word.
Yes.
Fuck yeah!
They didn't play those.
They did play.
The rest of it's fucking money. Yeah. I sure hope he comes back on the show because Anthrax is going to release a new album soon, so I'm hoping to get him back to talk about it. Okay, Bri, honorables, buddy. What do you got?
I think, Randy, you were probably at all of these also.
I think we should just do a show where Randy gets to sit, we talk, and he just listens.
Speaking of small venues, back in the day when the back alley used to have, they're starting to do it more now. Somebody else is coming. Who's coming, Randy?
Sebastian Bach.
Good segue into my into one of my honorable mentions. 1996 at the back alley. This is Sebastian. We were at that. That was back when he was still thin, really thin, and the hair was fucking flipping, right? Come on, the energy was off. So good. It was so fucking good, man. His voice was so good. I love his voice, man. He's one of the best singers in rock.
I love Sebastian. I'm sure he's a bit of a...
He's a loose cannon, yeah.
Small doses if you're going to hang out with him 24/7, but the guy plays a bar like it's Wembley. You got to love that.
Yep.
You don't need to tune down a half a step. He's up a step. He was unreal. The band was great. Played all the hits. Yeah, honorable mention number 1. Number 2, back alley again.
Well, we pretty much lived there, Brian, if I recall.
We did. There were so many shows there. There were so many shows. This was a great one, too, and you were at this one with me. It was Buddy Guy.
Oh, fucking rights I was. Okay, can I interrupt you just for a second? I just keep interrupting, but I don't know if you're going to say this, but he was supposed to play the Jubilee. So I don't know if ticket sales were soft or whatever, but they switched it to the back alley. I'm like, perfect. This is where blues belongs. It's in a bar, not a theater.
Totally.
And God damn it, we were right up front, and it fucking killed.
I couldn't believe I was that close to a blues legend. Thank God that it worked out that way, right? And yeah, straight up blues master, man. The polka dots were in full force. The band was great. I just love that old blues genre. Those grooves, that's my jam, man. I just love that tone. His tone is just off the charts. Those small gigs, man, they can be so memorable, and that one was.
I haven't thought about that in a long time, but I do remember it. I remember looking up, and that guy's smiling ear to ear for 90 minutes. Like, he loves everything he's doing all the time. It's just infectious. Like, he's my favorite blues guy out of that old guard. He's by far my favorite one. He rocks, and that guitar tone, that's where Hendrix got it. That's where fucking SRV got it. That guy's the shit. Because he was more rockin'. I love Muddy Waters and John Lee and those guys. I love them too. But Buddy was a little more edgy. There's more edge to his tone. Okay, Brian, what else you got?
My last one is hard again, but I had to go with Roger Waters' The Wall in Anaheim. Did a boys trip centered around going to see this show. We were on the floor about 15 rows back, right in the middle. Unbelievable. Again, the expectations were high because I'd seen The Dark Side 3 years before, and that was so good, right? But again, he delivered, man. And for me, it's the best concept album that's ever been done, and he did it in its entirety. The animation, the artwork, the visuals.
God, the visuals are unreal. I saw it in Phoenix. It's fucking killer.
So fucking good, man. One of my favorite albums of all time, so had to go.
I was choked, though, so we went to Phoenix to see it because they announced the tour, and there was nothing around here. Well, then it's so popular. I mean, it's going through the roof. It's selling out in 5 minutes while they announced that Edmonton show. I should have went again. I'm kicking myself to this day. I should have fucking went again, but I didn't.
My buddy Phil was with me at that one, and he went to see it again in New York. It was on a bigger scale. It was in the Yankee Stadium, I think. It was an outdoor gig, twice or 3 times as big, so they scaled it up.
Right, the Blu-ray is at some stadium. I think it's in Italy or something. You're right. It's just way fucking bigger. It's crazy.
There you go.
Okay, man, good one. Okay, Dany Bee, what do you got?
3 honorable mentions. All right. Number 1, I'm going to go with August 22nd, 1998. Pearl Jam at Molson Park. Cheap Trick opening up for him. What a show, man. I guess that would have been the Yield tour, I guess. It was absolutely amazing. Here's a cool story about the Cheap Trick thing. When they came over the border, their gear didn't make it. And there was a whole bunch of red tape to go through to get their gear across. So they ended up borrowing gear from Pearl Jam. And I remember the first time when I met Cheap Trick here at the Deerfoot Casino.
I was at that one. That was great.
Yeah. I had a conversation with, oh shit, what's fucking the bass player's name again?
Tom Peterson?
Tom Peterson.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, the first time I saw you guys were opening up for Pearl Jam at Molson Park in Barrie, Ontario. And he remembered it vividly. He's like, yeah, our gear didn't make it across and we had to use Pearl Jam's gear. But the cool thing is Jeff Ament plays a 12-string bass.
Yeah, he does.
So Tom's like, perfect.
But what about Rick and his crazy guitars? What did he do?
Well, that's the thing. So he just had to settle for a couple of really nice Les Pauls.
Oh, that's too bad because, man, that's part of the show. He changes guitars every song, you know.
Yeah. None of the cool checkered Hamers.
That six-necker.
Yeah, he didn't bring Uncle Dick out because it didn't make it across. Years later, I saw them again at the Saddle Dome opening up for Nickelback.
Hello.
So I was buddies with Rick's guitar tech at the time.
Oh, cool.
And he passed away a few years ago. But anyway, so I got pictures with Uncle Dick and all the cool guitars backstage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wicked. I couldn't believe they were playing Deerfoot, though. That's only a 400-seater. I couldn't believe they were there. I'm like, I'll take it, but I couldn't believe it. I love Pearl Jam, too. I've seen them many, many times. The first time I saw them, though, was at Max Bell again, Versus.
That was my first time seeing them, this show here. Cheap Trick was like an added bonus. Okay, so number 2. I'm going to combine a couple of shows of the same band together.
You can't do that. That's not the rules of this.
Nobody's done that yet.
2014 at the Saddle Dome. Rain Wolf, this kid, Jordan Cook from Saskatoon, opening up for them. Sabbath, man, with Ozzy. It was the 13 tour, I guess.
Yeah.
And then again in 2016 with Rival Sons opening up for them that second time. And I'm going to add, as an added bonus on the Sabbath fucking train here, 2007 with Ronnie James Dio. They were calling themselves Heaven and Hell, though, because of lawsuits and whatnot.
John and I were there at that one.
Yeah. Last minute, I was surfing on Facebook and I saw somebody, hey, I'm going to go see Dio at the Saddle Dome tonight. I'm like, what?
What?
I drive down there. I go to the box office. I get a ticket for fucking $30, man. And I saw Dio with Sabbath that night, man.
What?
Yes.
That last minute shit is awesome, hey?
I know. I loved it. It was amazing. I got goosebumps the whole show. Like, Dio was fucking phenomenal, man.
That was a
great
show.
And a year later, he was gone. He was dead.
Fuck, was it only a year? Shit, man.
About a year after, yeah.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen Dio. I saw Mob Rules at the Corral, and I hadn't seen Dio till that show. That was my gap there, man. I hadn't seen him that whole time.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I'm glad I got to see Tony and Geezer 3 times.
I saw that Sabbath tour 3 times, twice here and once in van. It was good every time. It was really good. Ozzy was on point, I thought.
Yeah, they were down-tuned quite a bit, but whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That just helps them, though.
It sounded heavier.
Exactly.
It sounded even heavier, yeah. All right, my number 1 honorable mention, I'm going to go, it's a combination of a bunch of different sets that whole weekend, but it was Woodstock 99. I was there, man. You watched the documentary, and I witnessed a lot of the fucked up shit that went on that weekend. The price gouging with food and water and all that crap. I didn't witness guys groping chicks and doing inappropriate things. We were so, like, into just having fun and going to see our favorite bands and whatnot. That we were kind of a little bit oblivious to all the bullshit that was going on. But watching the documentary afterwards, I'm like, oh, yeah, I kind of vaguely remember hearing stories about it happening, but I didn't firsthand witness any stupid shit like that.
Right. Well, that's good.
But I did witness the fires going on the Sunday when the Chili Peppers went on to do their set. And people were fucking setting shit on fire. And
well, they were playing Fire by Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. Yeah. Appropriately enough. Propane tanks fucking exploding. And then the Monday morning, it was like a war zone, man. Absolutely bonkers. But I just want to remember all the good sets. You know, James Brown, fucking Metallica, Rage Against the Machine. Korn on the Friday night was fucking insane. Seven Dust, Jamie mentioned Seven Dust earlier. Seven Dust played that weekend. Those guys were so good. Limp Bizkit, just to name a few, you know, like the whole weekend was just, it was a barrage of nonstop. Oh my God. Wow. Like, it's just amazing.
Okay. That's it, right?
Yeah, man. That's it.
Okay, my honorables, I'll try to be quick. When you hear an announcer say, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones," something special happens, kids. It's Goosebump fucking City. I've seen them 4 times. I saw them at the Saddle Dome in 05, which was surprising because that's a small room for them, right? Not a stadium. I just saw them July 5th this year at BC Place, 60,000. It was fucking wicked. I was surprised how good it was, actually. But I had to go with my 3rd time, the No Filter Tour, State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, 2019. The main reason is we were fucking front row. So the stage is a T.
Wow.
And then there's a barricade. And on each side of the T is like a undersold general admission section. See, I can do it, John, if it's loose.
Right.
And it was super loose. So we're right up front. Fucking Mick Jagger's like right there, dude. Like, I could have undone his fucking shoes. That's why. And he was, for some reason, so we were on the left side, Ronnie's side, not Keith's side. And for whatever reason, Mick favored our side. Like, he was on our side about 70% of the show. Maybe him and Keith were getting along that day. I don't know. But he was on our side. And it was fucking amazing. And for me, it's not just that they're fucking old and on stage playing. They're doing it at a fucking high level still. You're seeing the greatest fucking rock and roll band of all time, I think, period. My second one, he's come up a lot so far. I love Pink Floyd and David Gilmour, but for me, Roger represents Floyd more effectively live. He just does. Amazing band, amazing stage shows, like Brian was saying. I've seen him 4 times now. The one that stands out for me is this one. Us and Them is my favorite. Brian was there. Rogers Place, Edmonton, 2017. I mean, the Animals section alone, the factory drops down the whole length of the arena. It had functioning stacks on it. Like steam and smoke was coming out of the stacks. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And at the end, there's that full-size laser pyramid with the mirror ball for Dark Side. It's unbelievable. I mean, check out that Blu-ray if you want to get a feel for it. It's just killer.
My dad and uncle and brother were at that show in Ottawa, actually. They saw that tour.
It's musically and visually state-of-the-art. It's so fucking good. Gotta mention these guys. Last but not least, the band I've seen more than any other band live just happens to be. And it's hard not have these guys in my top 6, but I couldn't.
Can I take a guess at what it is?
Sure.
Who it is?
Yeah.
Aerosmith.
No.
Oh, shit.
Think bigger show. I need to mention 2 shows on this one. I have to. One newer and one older. It's Motley Crue, kids. Carnival of Sins tour at the Saddle Dome 2005. Oh, God, it was good. They're just so much fun. You can nitpick on the musical ability all fucking day long. You just go there, have some beers, and I just smiled for 2 hours, man. It's another one of their comeback tours, that one.
Well, almost 20 years ago, you'd think that they were probably a little bit better than
they were.
The last decade or whatever.
They were. It was that whole demented circus theme, right? The circus tent. And there was midgets and strippers and choppers and pyro. Did any of you guys see that show? No. It was fucking wicked.
No. I saw footage of it on YouTube, I think. Yeah, I didn't see them back then.
Oh, and it was really cool. They had 2 sets. So the first half of the show was all deep cuts. Red Hot, On With the Show, Too Fast for Love. Then there's a 15-minute intermission. And they come back, all of them on choppers. They ride in and they do all the hits. Girls, Dr. Feelgood, all that shit. Dude, it was wicked. But the one that I had to go with my favorite is from back in the day, 87, October 19th at the Saddle Dome Girls, Girls, Girls tour. I mean, at the time, if you were into metal, if you want to call Motley Crue metal, it was the show to see.
Right.
Band is on fucking fire.
Yeah.
Stage show is bitching, pyro, inflatables. Tommy Lee's drum kit is on that fucking spin thing, fucking upside down all around. But just seeing these 4 guys on stage is all I really need. At that point, I thought they were so fucking
I think it'd be fair to say that they were in their absolute prime during that era.
Well, that or Feel Good, right in there for sure.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
They were lean. Like, Vince isn't fat. He's lean. They're living that rock and roll lifestyle to the fucking max. The first time I saw him, like I was saying, with like Jamie saw that show, Theater of Pain. And I went on to see him fucking a shit ton of times. But this show is my fave. And there's pro shot footage of it. I think it's Tacoma, Washington on YouTube. Really good quality. Check that out. But again, you kind of got to be there. At the end of the day, back then, they were my replacement for Kiss. Right? Because Kiss took off their makeup, lost all their edge. And moving forward, if you compare Kiss stage shows to Motley kicks their ass, I think. I don't care how much fire you got.
Yeah.
Their shows were better. Like that last tour in 2014-15, that final tour, the end or whatever.
2015, yeah, with Alice Cooper.
Dude, Vince Neil was fucking horrendous. But that show, the actual show, was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy good. Okay, I'm going to sneak one more in because I'm the host. Ready? Guns N' Roses Skin and Bones tour. So this was like part of the Use Your Illusion tour, but it was towards the end. It was like 93. So it was in Edmonton at Northlands. Well, it's the third time I saw them because they opened for The Cult, like Brian said, and they opened for Maiden on Seventh Son. They also opened that show. But this is the first time I saw them headline. And I don't know if you know, you've all seen the Use Your Illusion tour. It's a bit bloated, right? But this one had no backup singers, no horn section, like none of that shit. Not Axl changing outfits every fucking song. All that was gone. It was just the band.
Wow.
Fucking stripped down and kicking ass. It was wicked. They even had like this acoustic set where they brought that couch out and strippers came out with pizza and beer and shit. It was fucking crazy. And believe it or not, there's pro shot footage of this show, but it's from Saskatoon on YouTube if you want to check it out. I had to sneak that one in because I also walked away thinking, holy shit, Slash is amazing. Like I liked him, but I'm like, oh, he's that good. His solo was crazy, right? Okay, man.
Nice.
You guys want to add anything before we sign off?
I don't know if I can add anything. I mean, we could go on forever with
I think we have.
honorable mentions and, you know.
You know it's bad when one of us has to bail. Fuck, I got to tap out.
That's right.
I got shit to do.
Yeah.
Okay, are we done? Are we good?
We're good.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's a wrap, dudes. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. That was awesome.
As
That
always.
was great.
It was a
Right?
My absolute pleasure. Nice hanging out with you fellas.
Hey, absolutely. We'll do it again. Thanks to you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you taking the time to hang with us. Post your favorite concert experiences in the comments. Tell us what shows blew your minds. We want to hear about it, man. You can find us on all the socials, wherever podcasts are broadcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, kids. And until next time, on behalf of Brian, Missing in Action, Jamie, Danny, John, and I, keep rocking live, people. Peace out. Oh, look at that. He's got effects.
I don't even know how that happened.
Elvis has left the building.